The air was thick with the scent of brewing coffee and old books. Sunlight streamed through the large windows, illuminating dust particles dancing in the air. At a corner table sat a girl with fiery red hair, deeply engrossed in a well-worn novel. Her name was Amelia, and this was her sanctuary, a small, cozy cafe nestled in a quiet part of town. Every evening after the sun had dipped below the horizon, casting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Amelia would seek refuge here. The gentle aroma of roasted beans and freshly baked pastries enveloping her like a warm blanket. She would sip her Earl Grey tea, its delicate floral notes mingling with the musty fragrance of aging paperbacks. Lost in fictional worlds, she would devour stories, each page turning a new chapter not just in the book but sometimes in her own life. In the heart of the city, oblivious to the chaos and clamor, she would lose track of time. The only sounds, the ticking of the old grandfather clock by the door and the murmur of fellow bibliophiles discussing their latest literary finds. For Amelia, this was more than a cafe. It was a place where the whispers of countless tales resonated in the very walls, merging seamlessly with the quiet symphony of her own thoughts. Here, amidst the comforting backdrop of rustling pages and steaming mugs, she felt a sense of belonging that words could not express. But little did Amelia know that one rainy afternoon fate had a surprise in store for her, an unexpected twist that would change the narrative of her life forever. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, there was a young man named Daniel. Unlike Amelia, he was an artist, his passion lying in sketching the world around him. His room was a testament to his creativity, with walls adorned with his drawings, each stroke narrating a story or capturing a fleeting moment in time. However, lately, a shadow had fallen over Daniel's artistic spirit. He had lost his muse, the spark that once ignited his creativity, leaving him staring at blank canvases and sketchbooks without a single idea. One day, seeking solace from the grey skies and the dreary weather, he ventured out, aimlessly wandering the streets until he stumbled upon the quaint cafe. The sight of the old brick building with warm light spilling out from the windows beckoned him inside. Stepping into the cafe, Daniel was immediately enveloped by its cozy ambience. The rich, dark wood paneling, the plush armchairs, and the intoxicating aroma of freshly brewed coffee created an atmosphere of warmth and comfort that he couldn't resist. He chose a table near the window, allowing him to observe the bustling street while enjoying the tranquility of the cafe. Opening his sketchbook, he began to draw, his pencil gliding across the paper, trying to capture the essence of the scene outside. As he focused on his art, he was unaware of the eyes that had turned towards him. Curious about the quiet young man absorbed in his drawings. A few moments passed, and then a soft chuckle broke the silence. Startled, Daniel looked up to see a girl with a cascade of red hair and a playful smile. "You seem very serious," she said, her voice like the chime of a silver bell. "Drawing can be quite intense sometimes," Daniel replied, offering her a sheepish grin. "I suppose I got carried away," Amelia took a seat at the table next to Daniel, her gaze lingering on his sketchbook. "What are you drawing?" she asked, her curiosity piqued. "Just some random street scenes," Daniel answered, slightly embarrassed at being caught in the act. "Nothing interesting." "Oh, I'm sure they're wonderful," Amelia responded with a smile, her eyes twinkling with kindness. "Perhaps you could show me sometime." Daniel blushed, realizing how absorbed he had been in his work. Sure," he stammered, "if you want to see them." A comfortable silence fell between them as they sipped their drinks, each lost in thought. But the quiet wasn't awkward. It was filled with the unspoken potential of a new connection, a shared love for art and stories weaving an invisible bond between them. In that small cafe, surrounded by the comforting aroma of coffee and the soft murmur of conversation, something unexpected began to blossom. A serendipitous meeting that neither of them had anticipated. From that day on, the cafe became their shared sanctuary. They would meet every evening, drawn to each other as much as to the familiar comforts of the cafe. They talked for hours, discovering shared interests and passions, their conversations flowing effortlessly from one topic to another. Daniel learned about Amelia's love for classic literature, and she, in turn, marveled at his sketches, seeing in them a depth of emotion and perspective that only a true artist could possess. There were evenings when the cafe buzzed with activity, filled with the laughter of customers and the clinking of cups. And there were times when it was quiet, allowing them to enjoy the solitude of their own company. Yet, no matter the atmosphere, their bond deepened. They shared dreams and fears, hopes and aspirations, creating a connection that transcended the boundaries of mere acquaintanceship. For Amelia, who had always found solace in books, Daniel was like a character stepping out of her favorite novels, a real-life romance that defied the confines of fiction. Daniel, too, felt a connection with Amelia that he had never experienced before. Her warmth, intelligence, and kindness made her someone he couldn't help but open up to, sharing his dreams and vulnerabilities with a trust he had never felt capable of giving. As weeks turned into months, their feelings for each other grew, nurtured by shared moments and quiet promises. They walked hand in hand along tree-lined streets, their laughter echoing in the twilight, their love story unfolding like a beautiful melody. But their idyllic evenings by the window were not destined to last forever. One particularly gloomy evening, the cafe was empty except for Amelia and Daniel, who sat in their usual corner. Rain lashed against the windows, mirroring the turmoil brewing within them. Daniel had received an offer, a chance to showcase his art in a prestigious gallery across the world. It was a dream come true, yet it tore at the fabric of their love. For Amelia, the thought of Daniel leaving filled her with an overwhelming sense of loss. A fear that the happy ending they had envisioned might be torn apart by the cruel whims of fate. Daniel, too, was torn. The opportunity of a lifetime was within reach, but the prospect of leaving Amelia behind was like a stone in his heart, weighing down his dreams with guilt and uncertainty. As the hours passed, the cafe emptied and the rain intensified, echoing their silent anguish. Words hung heavy in the air, unspoken fears and the agonizing question, what would become of them? Finally, unable to bear the weight of silence any longer, Amelia spoke. Her voice trembled, betraying the turmoil within. Daniel, if you go, what happens to us? He reached for her hand, his touch sending a jolt of electricity through her. I don't want to leave you behind, Amelia, he whispered, his voice hoarse with emotion. But even his words were not enough to quell the storm of emotions within her. Amelia felt as though her carefully constructed world was crumbling. The thought of facing life without Daniel by her side was unbearable. Days turned into a blur, each hour stretching into an eternity as they grappled with the impending separation. The joyful laughter that once echoed in the cafe was replaced by a heavy silence, broken only by the soft patter of rain. Yet amidst the sorrow there was a glimmer of hope. One clear night, with the sky ablaze with a myriad of stars, Daniel and Amelia found themselves on a rooftop overlooking the city. The vastness of the universe mirrored the turmoil in their hearts. Daniel turned to Amelia, his eyes reflecting the starlight. Amelia, wherever I go, I want you by my side, he said, his voice echoing the sentiment that had become the anthem of their love. Tears welled up in Amelia's eyes, blurring the starlight. Then let's face tomorrow together, she whispered, her voice catching in her throat. And in that moment, under the watchful gaze of the stars, they found their answer. The universe had brought them together not just by chance, but by design. Their love story, like the celestial bodies above, was meant to navigate the twists and turns of life side by side. The distance that had seemed so daunting suddenly felt surmountable with each step. The future, once shrouded in uncertainty, now shimmered with the promise of shared dreams and unwavering companionship.